Good evening. It's 8 o'clock on Tuesday evening. We are the 18th of October, I believe, and I am here for another Brew and a Blether. Now, tonight I thought I would have another go at doing a millefiori cane. Now, I haven't done one for a while, and I do miss doing them because I've got an idea for doing them with sugar mice and with owls. Actually, I think they'll be very cute with owls as well. But first of all, I just thought I would catch you up with what's happening because I know I've been very quiet for the last month or so. It's been, it was flat out with the funeral and the royal mice after that. We've got Lorna here. Hello. And we have Melissa from all the way over in New York. Hello there. Lovely to see you both here. Thank you very much for joining me. As always, I have absolutely no idea what's going to happen tonight, but I've got some nice colours here. And I just thought I would have a play and see what's what. I really do want to... Oh, we have Nicole as well from Germany. I'm sorry, I think I could say Guten Tag, but I think that's about it. Maybe Dankeschön for coming. So apologies, no German, bit of Spanish, but nothing much else anyway. And of course, it's coming up for Halloween, and I don't know where the time is going. How often do you hear me say that? But I'm really the time is just flying by at such a huge rate of knots. It's really quite remarkable. Anyway, I'm going to do a small Halloween shop event on Halloween itself. So I'm sorry, no Halloween creatures in time for the day itself, but they will be on the day. But anyway, because creatures aren't just for Halloween or for Christmas or for whatever time of year it is. Yes, you are absolutely right, Melissa. Well, maybe not whatever I do will be magic. Whatever the creatures do will be magic, because they have their own ideas. I was actually just working on another little cobweb sugar mouse, but I did it in reverse. I did the mouse in glow-in-the-dark clay with a black spider web on top, and it actually looks really lovely. So I will be making more of those. I don't know how many of the larger creatures will be about for the shop event, but I'll do my best. I'll see what comes, who wants to come out and play. But I'm about to send out a newsletter because tomorrow, of course, the Squeak Show scene for October goes up for auction, a 3-day auction on my eBid site. And I'm really looking forward to that because I know I say this every month, but it really is one of my favourites. I love the mice painting the pumpkins. It's very cute. But yeah, so I'll be sending out a newsletter. If you haven't signed up for my newsletter, it's not a bad idea to do so because I send out just one a month at the moment, just giving a roundup of all the things that I'm doing, and it may sometimes help rather than just rely on Facebook, which has its moments, let's be honest. It doesn't always show you what you want to see. I've noticed a change in what actually I get to see. A lot of pages that I've liked, I never seem to see their updates. So anyway, so the newsletter is a good way of keeping in touch over and above Mr. Facebook. So just a thought. So I'll be sending out my newsletter for that tomorrow. Oh gosh, and then yes, the auction will start at 9 o'clock UK time tomorrow evening. And it'll run till 9 o'clock on Saturday. That's it. That's 3 days from Wednesday night. So yes, that's going to be fun. And in between all that, I'm going to be working on Halloween creatures. So, and of course, I'm going to be announcing in my newsletter also some collaborations that I've been working on as well. Now, you all know Alison Catch loves beautiful leaves, and she's making a whole batch more for me. So I'm hoping to get them through soon. And when I do, I'll be taking requests for sleepy mice and sleepy bunnies and possibly sleepy foxes. You heard it here first. I am hoping to do some curled up sleeping foxes, and I think they will work very well. So we shall see. Anyway, I hope that you're all keeping well. What else do I want to say? I'm sure there's lots more to actually talk about. Oh yes, the collaborations that I'm doing. So as well as Alison Catchlove, there we go, squirrel moment. It had to happen. So yeah, so as well as Alison's beautiful leaves, I've also come across a ceramic artist, who's based up the road from me. She's not far away, and she's lovely. Her name's Kerry Machin, or Machin. I'm not sure exactly how you pronounce her name. But her business is called Red Shed Ceramics. I found her on Etsy. And she and I are coming up with some designs for some ceramic leaves for creatures to sleep on. So I am very much hoping. I'm waiting to hear from her. She was putting them in the kiln, I think, earlier in the week. So fingers crossed, we're going to have some. I'm going to have some more news about things that she's doing too. She's made some tiny little. She does a lot of ceramic mosaic designs, which of course, and I'm going to show you now, are perfect for the mice to hold. Now I've ordered these in lilac and red poppies. They're absolutely lovely. And I was thinking this in advance of Remembrance Day, which is coming up soon. And then before you know it, it'll be Christmas. So expect to see wee creatures holding things. And also, several months ago now, oh yes, Lorna, brilliant, you're more than happy to have a sleeping mouse, that's fine. And I owe you a reply, I'm so sorry, it's just been manic, apologies. Yes, and the other commission that I'm really excited about, you may have seen, she's she's on the page, and I love her work. She does the peace pebbles. It's Lizzie, Busy Zizzy, who does the most amazing peace pebbles. And look at these. So she's made them. She's made several for the mice in these and in rainbow colours as well. But they're the right size for the mice and the other wee creatures. So you can expect to see wee creatures holding these beautiful, beautiful peace pebbles. So I'm very much looking forward to doing that. I've had them for, I don't know, for a couple of weeks, and I just haven't had a chance to actually speak to you about it. So it's all go. It's wonderful. I love working with other artists. It's just so much fun when you see where the whole is greater than the combination than the sum of the parts. That's, I think, what I'm trying to say. Anyway, as I'm blethering away here, I don't even have my brew. Can you believe me? Lorna, no, I owe you a message, but oh no, we'll just keep it that you owe me one. Yeah, that's right. Anyway, I'm just, yes, I have no idea what's going to come out. So I'm going to start out making a very simple bullseye cane. The idea with cane work, really, and I'm not a caner. I just make stuff up as I go along, basically. It's good fun that way. But the idea is to have contrasting colours and shades, because if I did a cane with just those three colours all together, it would lose definition quite quickly and it would look a bit muddy. But intersperse them with contrasting colours and with blacks and whites and all the rest of it, and then you have a making of something quite special. So I'm going to, this bullseye cane, very simple. So I've just rolled a log, and I'm going to wrap a black, just a very fine layer of, is that what it's called? A layer, I suppose it is, of black clay around that, or around part of it anyway. And I'm just going to build it up and see what's happening. We shall see. Oh, there's a teapot icon on my screen. I don't know whether you guys can see that. Did I do that? I may well have done that. Or somebody has done it. I don't know. I've got a teapot in my I love it. I need a tea. I could do with a tea. So I'm just going to roll out very thinly this black clay. There we go. Is it called a layer? I'm not entirely sure. Oh, there we go. You put on your wireless headphones, and while you said about tea. So somebody put tea on the screen. Fantastic. Right. So if anybody has joined, I'm just playing around and making one of my renegade canes, as I like to call them. So I don't measure things. I don't have the patience for it. Would you believe I have the patience for sitting for 3 hours putting tiny, tiny little leaves on the back of a mouse, but I don't have time for this. Go figure. Anyway, right. I'm going to do about 3/4 of the way around there. We shall see. All right. So if you can see, it's like a licorice allsort at this point, but the idea is that black layer will provide a nice thin sort of like a barrier, a border between the colours. So I'm now going to do that with a couple more of the colours that I have. Normally I would use scrap clay, but you know, I have used up all my scrap clay lining the flower pots for the blossom flower pot creatures. I don't have any scrap clay left. It's quite something. It's about the first time ever, because normally I have quite a lot of scrap clay, and then it gets recycled and put into molds and put into anything that needs a millefiori cane on it. But wow, it's been very strange not having any scrap clay left. Right, so this is fuchsia. Now I know this is Sculpey. I'm primarily using Fimo, but it doesn't, and although they do technically bake at a different temperature, it doesn't really make an awful lot of difference as far as baking them. But I can't really say that, you know. You're not supposed to. This is what I mean about me not really following any of the rules. I just kind of make it up as I go along, which is more fun that way, to be honest. All right, so again, I'm just wrapping a thin layer of this black clay, and I'm not going to do it right to the edge as well. So I'm just trimming it with my tissue blade, and I'm trying to place it in such a way that it doesn't trap any air bubbles, because as you know, air bubbles, the bane of my life. Picking them out is just a bit of a pain. Right, I think I shall do this lovely purple now, and I'll do the same. And really, I'm just going to, it's going to be so simple. I mean, I was having a watch at some of the tutorials that you get on YouTube, and if you're wanting to try millefiori techniques, that's as good a place as any, just to go in, have a look, see what's there, see what resonates, have a play. But what I love about millefiori is that it doesn't take much to get some really spectacular results. You know, this will be just a handful of colours, a handful of shapes, and I will roll them all up together. And before you know it, she says, famous last words, here's me hoping, it's all going to look rather lovely. Right, just a quick check-in to make sure that I've got my setup okay. I've actually put the light on, the overhead light, which I never have on normally, as well as my two lights that I work with actually over my desk. So does that all look okay? I think it's quite well centered, but do shout if it's not. And we have Dawn here as well. Hello Dawn, lovely to see you on the call. I'm doing a millefiori cane tonight, and we'll see what happens after that. I have an idea about what to do with them. You know how before when I've done millefiori sugar mice, I have basically, I'll just trim that one to size. I've basically just used the same, I've covered a sugar mouse with thin sheets of the millefiori cane that I've made. But actually I really like, and you might have noticed that I'm doing this quite a lot, I like sort of dressing the sugar mice, putting little coats on them. That's how I've made the ice cream mice, the bumblebee and ladybird mice, and what have I just made? The candy cane mice. That's how I've done them. I've actually made the mouse and then added I've given them a coat, a coat of whatever they're dressing up with. And one of the things which I have been meaning to do for ages, and I haven't got around to it yet, is dress one up as a football. It's you know, one of these days it will be done. Just maybe not quite yet, but it will be done. Right, so I'm just going to trim that, and again, it's like rolling well, I've never rolled a cigarette, but I believe that's what you would do, but not all the way around. So, right, and I think I will do one more in white. I have a little bit of white here, and let's see how actually, have I got any, yes, actually, instead of having to cut it there, I always have so much clay just lying around because I don't like putting anything away in case I forget. So this was actually destined to be another candy cane mouse, and it probably will be when I get back to it, but at the moment it's going to be a log for a millefiori cane. and we'll see how this goes. So I'm just conditioning it first of all, and as I say, this is very rough and ready. It's often the best way to do it. Well, for me it is anyway. I know some people like will measure things out, you know, to the minutest degree, and I will do that for, you know, the mice, for example, because a mouse has got to have, a standing mouse has 6.3 grams of clay in it, you know. So there you go. And we have Nick. Hello, Nick. Oh, you're in from Germany as well. So we've got two Germans, or two representatives from Germany on the call. How wonderful. One from America, a couple from the UK. I love that the wee creatures travel so much. It's lovely to know they have passports and are prepared to travel. Now, that, I'm glad to say, that's a very mucky log of white, but because it's going to be wrapped in black, I don't need to worry about it too much. I just need to make sure that there aren't any little bubbles in it. That will be fine. And then I think I just need to roll this out again. Oh, so I had another idea when I was out walking today. Went for a long walk and found a lovely little gift shop in Rochdale town centre. Rochdale is not known for its creative centres, apart from me, of course. But it's a beautiful shop called Number 10, and I had a long chat with the woman there, and I managed to buy a lovely ceramic rabbit made by an artist over in, I don't know where she's based, but she's lovely work. So that cheered me up greatly today. Right, actually, do you know, I'm going to, having said that, I'm going to actually roll the black. Oh no, maybe that's okay. Maybe that's okay. Right. Okay, so let's see what happens. I think I'm going to shape. Yes, let's do these in a slightly different shape. So I'm going to pinch this into a triangle and see what happens. Oh, we have Alison on the call as well. Hello, Alison. Lovely to see you here too. Right, so that is just pinching it into a point to make sure that it's as even as I can all the way along. And that actually makes it quite easy to pull out as well, to stretch it, to reduce it effectively. So I'll do that with this one. I will just reduce this one in its round form. I honestly have no idea what I'm going to be doing. I don't know how this is going to turn out, but hey, that's the fun bit. And actually I'm going to reduce that or lengthen it. It will make it smaller, and it's more or less retaining its circular shape. And then I will just stick that along the edge of the triangle one. Now, one thing that you can do with these is actually just fill in with very small logs of the same colour. So if I didn't want those two colours to sort of touch anymore, then I could just put a very thin corner of black just to pad it out. Just, you know, because basically I'm trying to make a pattern that makes sense. Oh, sorry, when you look at it from there. And if there are gaps in between, this is how I made my QC cane. I made up the interlocking monogram and looked at it from the end, but just kept sort of padding out each of the letters so that it didn't sort of come in on itself. I mean, it takes a long time, and I've made 2 of the monogram claims in all the time, in all the 13 years that I've been making wee creatures. So thankfully I still have a fair bit left, so long may that continue. Right, so that's a thin log which I'm just roughly shaping into the triangle, which will then fit into that gap. That's the idea. And it just basically just separates them out and retains whatever shape it's going to be. We shall see. Right, what to do with this one? I'll maybe shape it into sort of a square, possibly, or just pull it out a little bit. In fact, oh no, I think I'm going to pinch that one into more of a a teardrop shape, almost like a flower petal, which it may well end up looking like in some way, shape or form. Right, and then it's just, let's stack that on. Okay. Now, and what you can also do, which is quite useful, is once you've got a sort of a group of canes together, and I'll put this one in as well, then you can actually wrap clay around about them as well. So I might end up doing a bit of that too, who knows. But what's good, because I've now got quite a lot of black in there, if I put a contrasting colour again, and I could put, in fact, without the black wrap, I'll just put the other half of this bullseye, this log. I'll just roll it out again. It needs to be a little thinner because I'm just going to have it opposite that one. I mean, really, I can't, well, you can see how rough and ready and how off the cuff and how just, let's just see what happens. That's how much fun it is, really. It reminds me, in fact, you've heard the expression "suck it and see," haven't you? When, you know, folk don't really know what they're doing. Well, when I was doing my traineeship, before I did my traineeship, when I was doing my postgrad course, one of the things, this is when you do all the practical stuff, and we were told we had to make up a law firm that was going to sort of act for us, and we would do all these trial procedures and court cases and all the rest of it. So my lawyer firm was called Suck It and See. So yeah, even then I was taking law very, very seriously, as you can see. Right, I'm just going to trim that. All right, okay, so it's starting to sort of build up into kind of a triangle shape, accidentally, maybe. Is anything an accident? That's a good question. I think I'm going to put another bit of purple, not purple, well, fuchsia, it's fuchsia. Let's see. Or will I? Or will I just work with that? This is the fun thing. It's just like, okay, well, let's just see what happens then. Let's see what happens when we do. I know, I'll put in another bit of black, another sort of black sausage in there, and that'll help retain, oh, sorry, am I out of the way now? That'll retain more of the triangular shape, because ideally you either want a triangle or a square. This is me just making a straightforward, they're called kaleidoscope canes, basically, because whatever this looks like, it will look amazing when it's cut into four and then reshaped, because the brain wants to make patterns in its head. The brain wants to make sense of what it's seeing. So it will just turn into this amazing pattern, I hope. I'm very hopeful that it will. Right, okay. Right, well, let's see what happens with this one. And there are all sorts of things you can do. You can sort of like lengthen up one of the points and then curl it over, and that can, but no, I'm just going to keep things simple. So all I'm doing, I've turned this, it is a triangle shape now. And what I'm doing now is just reducing it. So this is, it's sort of squeezing and pulling and keeping it all as even as possible. I mean, the ends will always distort, but that's just what happens. So the idea, I mean, I've seen people work with canes where like they're dealing with like blocks and blocks of colour, but you know, it doesn't take much actually to build up a good cane. Right. Okay, well, that's not bad. And then I use a ruler, oops, sorry, to measure, so I can then cut it into equal parts. So let's stretch it a little bit so it gets to 20, just slightly longer than 20, so I can trim off the distorted ends as well. Oh, I'll just clear that over there. I may not have time to make a mouse for this, but again, as I usually do, I'll just finish it off in the morning and show you. So I'm going to trim that to 20. And And then this is going to be, there's 10, that's halfway. So I'm doing this into, actually I should, yes, I'm going to do it into 4 just now, and I may have to do it into 6 another way. So there's 15, there's 5, and there's the loose end at the bottom. So it is helpful to have a ruler to actually just make sure that you're cutting them to a similar lengths. I watched one tutorial actually just before finishing or getting ready. Right, so you see how that's much smaller. Actually, I'll just interrupt myself. It's much smaller, but when I start putting the shapes together, and actually I probably should have done this into 6. It really starts building up. Yeah, okay, so I should have done that into 6. Oh well. But what I could do is just turn it into a larger triangle by just sticking on the top. Now, you can change the shape, you can change the pattern so easily. In fact, I'll just put that round there. Just depending on how you marry up all the patterns. So I could have, for example, I could put all my whites could be kind of more or less together there. But I think, you know, it doesn't really matter how, it doesn't need to be absolutely, what's the word? It doesn't need to be equal just now. It can be totally random, because when I actually finally, you know, when I decide on the cane, then it will actually just look like it was meant to be that way. Right, okay, so let's just do this. And what I can do with this, in fact, I'm sorry, I never finish. I'm never really very coherent in these things. My brain is always a little bit further ahead than my mouth. But what I'm going to do with this is actually, if you think about it, this is going to be like 1/2 of a square. So I'm going to cut this in half, and then shape the two, you know, put the two sides together. And the thing is as well is that you can't make it too small, because there comes a point when the pattern becomes lost and loses its definition. Not so much of an issue with contrasting colours, but certainly with very close ones. And I know some of, as you know, when the colours are very close together. And when I was doing some of my early millefiori canes, I was just using scrap clay, so the colours kind of muddied into each other. You could still see the pattern. It was very subtle. That was obviously what I was going for. But if you do it with contrasting colours, you can go a little smaller with the reduction. So let's see what that works out to be. Again, leave a little bit overflow. So that's a 15 centimetre. Let's make it 14. So that's 14. Trim off the ends, put it to 7. There we go. Right. And yes, again, the size of the pattern, not such an issue when I'm covering like mice and things. So look how cool that is. It's just, I love it. It's just amazing how it looks like a patchwork now. And you can really see how the colours kind of just bling out, because they're so contrasting. So I'm going to form this now into a square, because it's a diamond shape at the moment. So that's just a case of kind of pulling, keeping all the sides even until it's into a square. And this is the thing, I could have turned it back into a triangle. I could actually change the point by pulling up one of the sides into a triangle rather than keep to the triangles that I'd made already. It really, there's just no end of permutations and possibilities for what you can do with these. And what you could do as well is sort of make a cane and then make lots of different canes and then join them together. I mean, really, there's no end. And some canes out there are just stunningly beautiful. They're so detailed. And all of it starts with a very simple bullseye cane or a striped cane or maybe a Skinner blend or just, you know, very simple elements, but put them together and the results are just stunning. Again, Can you tell that I really like polymer clay? Right, okay. I don't want to go much smaller than that, because what I'm going to do now is cut this into 4 again and then stack it into a square. And that'll probably be the final cane, the size of it. I don't want to reduce it any more than that. But it will, as I say, it will show up well, because you can see, sorry, they were the sort of the starting points. You will be able to see the colours very well because they contrast so well, so nicely. Right. So I'm going to cut it to 20 again. So just slightly over. So there's 20, there's 15, there's 10, there's 5, and there's 0. Right. So, yeah, so my idea will be to put, and it should actually make it easier, and it should, sorry, my idea is to put a coat, give a coat to the sugar mice, and then they will, it will help not distort the pattern so much. Look at that. Right, so all I've done is I have now put 4 corners together. Right, it's really magic stuff. It's just amazing, the properties of polymer clay. So I've put the 4 corners together, so you can see it forming a proper kaleidoscope shape. A pattern. It's a regular formed pattern. Sorry about the buzzing, if you can see it. I forgot to put my phone on silent. So I'm just getting sort of buzzed whenever a message comes through. Anyway, so all I'm doing now is just keeping the shape. I'm reducing it slightly just to push it together. But I have to say I'm rather... Oh yes, I can. Oh, I'm missing comments here because I'm sideways on, so I can only see one. But it looks as though other people. Oh, lots of people have been writing. Oh no, and I've missed them. A gorgeous quilt block. Sounds like a duck. Oh, is that my? That's the sound of the phone. Sorry. I wish I did have a duck. Can you imagine if I had a studio duck that could keep me company? That would be just brilliant. Right. That is basically the millefiori cane, which kind of it's almost like stained glass, the way that it looks, because, going from that to that, can I just say, can I just say how magic, how magic is that? Can you tell I'm so excited about that? So there was me, a couple of blocks of normal clay, couple of bits of scrap clay that I had lying around, and I have now made a little coats for sugar mice. So before I cut this, I'll cut the end off because it's distorted a little bit, and you'll be able to see the proper pattern. Actually, I'm going to use, sorry, there's that duck again. Do forgive him. I wish, in fact, let me see if I can switch it off. Oh no, I can't do it on sideways. I'm using a much stiffer tissue blade. It's going to be very warm. It is very warm because it's warm in here. I've been handling the clay a lot, so it's quite soft. Overnight, it will harden up, and it'll be much easier to cut cleanly. But I can do that to give you an idea. So that's it without the middle coming in. So yes, the contrast works beautifully. It's just, yeah, yes, Alison, you're right. The sugar mice are going to absolutely love their coats. So you can imagine. So I'll make a normal mouse with normal ears, so it'll be like one of the normal mouse colours, white or grey, or what. In fact, I was going to make a grey one. I think grey would work very well with this colour. And then what I will do in the morning, once this is firmed up a bit, I will create just a small grid. So I'll cut very fine slices from the cane, maybe put it on scrap clay, but probably not. Just make sure that they're as even as possible. Build it up into sort of like something about that size. Don't know how big that is. About 5 by 5, 2 inches square sort of thing. Then I'll use a cutter, cut a circle out of it, and this is how I've done the bumblebee mice and the ladybird mice. So I cut a circle, cut the end off, and that end becomes the collar, and then it's a case of shaping the rest of it over the mouse. But by not making it so that it's on the nose of the mouse, it will not distort that lovely pattern. It'll keep the pattern much cleaner, much more cleanly than it would otherwise. So I will be in touch tomorrow once I've made the mouse and once I have sorted out the coat for him or her, and let's see what it looks like. Yeah, it's going to be lovely. Now, whether she has a collar, I don't know. It may be just a case of like turning up the edge, the corner. Like, so for example, if this was the edge, I would just create a very small lip. This is not a good thing to experiment with, but you know, so it would actually be like a little collar that would be over the edge of the mouse's or around the mouse's neck. Can't really see that from there, but anyway, I know what I mean, and I suppose that's going to be the important thing. So I think that's me for tonight, and it's just coming up for 20 to 9, I think. So thank you so much for coming along. Apologies again for not being able to see all the comments. It's just a bit hard when I'm kind of peering over the top and trying to see them all sideways. So I shall, I'll be in touch tomorrow. Have a wonderful evening, everybody, or day, or morning, or wherever you are. And yeah, it's always fun. It's always good fun. So have a good evening. I'll see you soon.